Hey guys, I don't know about you, but I can get so frustrated at times as I see the great calls that Sheldon and Ran talk to the community about, but yet by the time I get into my account, logged in, or set up to be able to look at it, that it's too late. So, as I've said before, it is absolutely critical that a platform is used that will allow you to aggregate all of the different exchanges that you have assets on, crypto on, so that there's one central place that you can make those trades from. I do not know about any platform other than 3 Commas, but for me, 3 Commas has been incredible. I just want to show you from yesterday. Today is the 30th, so this would have been from the 29th of April of 21. And I just want to show you how you can actually set up the trade in advance. That way, if it hits, if the target is hit in the middle of the night, that the computer will make that trade for you. And so that way you won't miss out on it. First of all, I want to show you what happened in my situation with regards to FTM. Here was this was the call. This is what they were talking about. That Sheldon was talking about. These are the different target levels, and so, but I never set, any of this up in advance, and I'll show you in a minute how to do that. But if I had, then I would have been able to capitalize on this move that happened. Right here, you can see from where it went up to 72, and then back down to where it was at 59 the next day. It's a 21% gain that I would have had that I gave up on. So that's why it's so critical to set this up in advance. And I didn't. I just got busy, and I just didn't do it when I first entered the trade. So this today is going to be a little bit more of a complicated, a little bit more complex trade, just because it's being able to take and grab a hold of the different angles and different sides of what's going on, and how you can capitalize on these ideas that they have, and to take advantage of it. So here we go. First of all, I'll link below how to set up a 3 Commas account. I'm not going to go through that because it'll take a long time, and there's some great videos on there about it. I'm just mainly focusing on, for the crypto banter community, what these ideas are that these guys have, and just how to execute them, how to actually make these trades happen. First of all, inside of 3 Commas, over here you'll go and connect your exchange, and then what I'm going to be using is the Smart Trade. I do want you to see that I'm using a paper trading account, so these numbers aren't necessarily my numbers, or these aren't my numbers. So what you're going to do here is you'll go and click the exchange that you want to trade on, and in this case we're going to use FTM, and we're going to use USDT. I'm going to show two different trades, and I'll put them in different sections. The first one's going to be more simple. The second one's going to be a little bit more complicated. So if you're only able to do the first one, then that's great. If you understand that and you're able to do that, and you like the second idea too as well, then you can do both of these. So I've actually done both of these trades. By the way, let me say a million times, this is not financial advice, legal or otherwise. These are just my ideas, and I'm just passing along to you what I know and what I'm doing. So what inside here is going to allow you to choose these markets, and then under here, these are just favorites that I've set up, just by putting a heart bomb. And so anyway, here's the different pairs. And then these are pairs that are coming from TradingView, I believe, that have suggestions on buys and sells. There's usually more buys there. I don't know why there's not, but okay. So, but down here we're looking at this FTM and USDT, and so just to try to keep it not confusing, I actually went offline since it's a paper account and bought some FTM, just because this idea I'm first talking about really comes from the fact that you already bought FTM and you're just holding it, and it's just sitting there, and you're waiting for it to get to a level, and then you're going to go in and find out and log in, give a 2-factor, and make the trade all in the 3 minutes or 5 minutes that it's at that price level. So anyway, this is if you already own it. And so that's where I'm coming from on that. So once again, down here, the first thing I would look at is doing a smart sell. And so what that means is that when the price gets to a certain level, I'm going to sell it. Okay, so once over here we have these targets that Sheldon has shown us and given us. And what I'm saying is I want to set it up so that it'll sell when it hit this target. Because like I said yesterday, now it's different today, but I could have bought it back down here, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But I gave up 21% by not setting up in advance. Not exactly. It's hard to know. It's easy to look in rearview mirror and say this is what I could have done this if I'd have done that. But that's everybody can say that. But anyway, so let me go back over here to this. All right, so this is saying we already own it. Now what I'm going to do first of all is I don't want to trade all of this. Once again, it's my paper account, but I don't want to trade all of that. So what I'm going to say is that I'm going to be working with only 50% of it. So let's say the other 50% is what I'm keeping for my long-term, holdings. Married, as Sheldon and Rand would now call it. This is half of it I'm just going to keep, so I'm not even going to fool with the other half. So this is only working on 50% of what I own. And so what here is you can take in and put what your buy price was, and this will really just help calculate what your profits are. So it's not really critical that I have the exact number here. But let's say here I was at, let's just say I was at 45. Here I was at this price. Once again, I just made it up in this case. And so this is saying, okay, this will end up being $1,500 worth of USDT is how much I've got into it. So this many shares, about 45 cents, is I've got $1,500 into it. So what we're going to do here is, like I said, we're looking for it to go up, and then we're wanting to sell it. So what you can do is you can come here, and you're going to say set take profit. And so it's going to be a limit order. So first of all, we got to know what level we're wanting to sell it at. So this is where we come back over to this page, and we say, okay, well, the first target was 63, but we're already past that. So let's say the first target is 80 cents. So we're going to go back over here. It's at 73 now. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to take profit when it gets to 80, 1, 2, 5. It's good not to put in round numbers. It's good to have an odd number in there. But that's going to be 77% from this price that I bought it down here, which is what I was saying why that helps to have the correct number in there. So this is going to be 77% up. Now, the thing is, I can put it just at one level, or I can split the targets, because like we have over here, the sniper had different target levels, and so we can set it up that way so that it'll execute at different prices. So right here it's saying I'm going to do 25%. So 25% of these units here that I'm working with will be sold at this price, 80 cents. So I'm going to click add take profit, because my total amount has to add up to 100%. So okay, so then the next target, now we look over here and we say, all right, the next target was 96 cents. And so we come back over here, and since we only have two targets, since one of the targets is already passed, then I'm just going to put the rest of it at this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say 75%. You get the idea. You know what I'm saying as far as putting that in here and how much you're willing to sell at that price. Now, I will say that you can put a trailing take profit, which basically means once it hits this price, if the price keeps going up, the sell price will actually follow it up. And that depends upon how much it'll follow up, depends upon how much you want to put in as a deviation. So let's just say that we put in here, -1. So negative, we'll just say -2. So what that means is when it hits 96, it will actually keep following it up. But once it goes past that, and I'm not exactly right, but in principle, you know what I'm saying. Once it goes up past that, and this 2% deviation, then it pulls back down, then it's going to actually it's going to go ahead and make a market trade and and to get you out of it. So, but in reality, if you didn't have that take profit, then you could end up getting something lower than this 96 cents. So, on the final trade. Now, the trailing take profit only works on this last. Sorry, let me add that. This last trade. So it doesn't work on the first one. It only works on the very last trade. All right. So this is where I would say we could sit, take, and create the trade. The last thing would be on this first idea would be if you want to set a stop loss. In this case, I'm not going to. It's something I own, something I'm willing to own long term, so I'm not going to put a stop loss on it. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the trade. And so what this is saying to me is that we got 3,400 units. We bought it at this price earlier, and that's what we're working with. But then we're going to take profit, at this level, and 75% of it at this level. So there's going to be a limit. There's going to be a market sell because of that trailing take profit. Here's our take profit on the first one, 77%, and the trailing take profit is this. So we're going to confirm it. And then what I like is down below the, where you just put this in, it will give you a graph showing, right here is where, right here is where we just placed the order, and it was 80 cents now. And this is where we originally bought it. So this is where I'm saying the profit shows you this. But if you didn't really buy it at 45, then that number won't really give you the accurate numbers. But then it says we're going to sell here to take profit here, and then we're going to do a trailing take profit at 96 cents. And so as the price moves, this will move with it, giving you a better idea of really where you're at. Now, if you add another trade to it, then it'll also calculate that in there too as well. So it really helps for you to know where you're at in the trade. So here's going to be the second part of the strategy of the trade. Like I said, you can do the first part, and then you can also do this on as well. And so what we're looking at here, we did the smart sell earlier. Now we're going to do a smart cover. And basically what that means is that if you own the assets, the token, then you can sell them and then repurchase your coins at a lower price. And so I'll show you a little bit more what that means here in a second. But basically, so we're here at 73, and we're like, okay, look, Sheldon's target originally was, first take profit was at 63. So I'm willing to go ahead and take some money off the table. I don't know if it's going to come back down or what's going to happen. And so this is the number of units that we have. Remember, we bought 50%. We used 50% of what we owned, and then this is the rest of them because we can't do double trades on them. So this is keeping you from overlapping. And so, let's say I'm going to come back down here, and I'm going to do 25%, whatever you choose to do. And so, what this means here is this is saying that I can put a limit order or market order in. If it's a large enough trade, I'd for sure do a limit order, but still it's a good idea to do a limit order, at that price, just so I know I'm getting close to that, what I'm, thinking it's going to be. So if I'm doing a limit order here, remember I'm selling it, and then I'm going to buy it back lower. Okay, so this is the thing thinking, hey, look, this had a big run, and we know it doesn't go just straight up. We know it pulls back some, and so we already have something set in there in case it goes on up. We've got take profits in there on half of the tokens that we have of FTM. So this is going to be for the other half, or you can narrow it down more if you're saying, look, I'm going to keep still part of it that's going to be long term. And so you wouldn't want to use 100% of this. I'm just going to use 25% of it, of what we have left to work with. And so I'm selling it where it's at now. And so I'm going to set take profit. Now what this means is I'm wanting to buy it back when it goes lower. And so what I do is I will take and look at TradingView. And I'll take a look to see where those support and resistance levels are. And let me just show you real quick. An easy way to be able to find that is there is a script that you can set up so that it'll automatically draw these lines for you. So you can go to this FX, or what I do is I just hit the backslash key, which is just to the left of the shift key, and it will bring up these charts and indicators. And if you go under public library, you can put in here and support and resistance. There's a bunch of different ones, and this is the one I'm working with. I don't, I've got too many in there. But anyway, that's already set up. So I put a star by it. That way it ends up being in my favorites. But then this automatically drew this on here for me. So if I'm saying, look, okay, here it is. Look, this is hitting a, a resistant line right here. The orange is going to be the support, which remember, support is going to turn into resistance. So, and resistance turns into support. So that's why you see these lines a lot of time overlapping each other. So here we are. We're starting to hit some resistance. So I may think, well, I know that this just doesn't go straight up. So hey, I'm willing to take some of it and sell some of it. And if it goes back down, that I could take and buy some of it back. Now, if it doesn't come back down, well, I was willing to sell it anyway. So, so I'm not, in my mind, I was willing to go ahead and do it anyway. So, but if it could come back down, this could end up being that I end up buying it back at 25% lower. Now, that's on my first level, but then I can go down to my second. I can even go here to this resistance level from before and say, okay, I'm going to put in the second one at this 23 cents. The first one was 18. No, sorry, it's 59. Over on the right, you see the 59, and then we got here at this, the numbers. Anyway, you'll see here. I'll show you here in a second. But so here's the different levels that we have. So basically, like I said, what we're doing is we're looking and saying, okay, we're going to sell it now, and then we're going to buy it back when it goes back down. And so we're taking and saying, all right, we're going to sell it right here. Once again, I just got to make sure I'm working on my paper trade account. It's just an example. So I'm there, and I'm saying, all right, so I'm going to buy it back lower. And I just drew this up earlier where I drew out these lines so I could see the levels of that. But so at the time we were here at 59. Once again, this was yesterday. So let's say call this first one was 52, and then 47, and then 39. So we'll try to remember those numbers. So we're going to go here. So we'll say, all right, at 52, 52.36, I'm going to take and I'm going to buy, 25% of it back. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to add a split level. So I'm going to come back over here, and all right, so that was 56, so 47. And once again, these are just whatever seems right for you. 47, so back over here, I'm going to change this price to at 47 cents. And I'm going to buy, whatever I want, 50 back. So it's going to be in 75, and I need to buy 25% more. And so when I come back over here, I see that is 39. So we'll say 39.953, whatever. 39, so I'll say 39, something, whatever it was. All right, and so that's going to be, I need to do it for the remaining. You can end up having 4 take profits, but I'm just doing it in 3, just as long as it adds up to 100%. So here we are. So now I can take, once again, do the trailing take profit if I want. I don't really use that as much, just because I'm already splitting my levels and trying to ride it on its way up, or in this case, buy it back on its way down. And so I can say, all right, well, I can do stop losses, which basically in this case is just saying, look, if the price takes off from here and keeps going, that I just sold, I'm going to buy it back as it's going up. but I already own the other, already own some already. I'm willing to sell it now, so I'm certainly not going to do a stop loss in this case. So I'm going to create the trade, and basically this is saying I'm working with this 25% of the units that I have. I'm selling it now at this 73. Hope that price is still the same. And then it's dollar amount and stop loss disabled. So 25% at this level, 50 at that. And okay, so confirm. And then, so now the smart cover has been successfully created. So let me just show you down here what we have. Let me just come down here. So on here, this first one that we set up, you can ignore this one. On this first one that we set up, what we did was we said, all right, so this is saying we already own it, and we're willing, or we've got it set up to sell 25% of of what we own at this 80, and then the other 75% at this 96. So there we go for that. And once again, it'll just show you a chart here showing you this is where I placed it, and this is where I originally bought it, and then my take profit, my trailing take profit, like we showed for. So on the smart cover, this is where we're at here as far as it's showing what's going on. I set a limit sell at 73, but the price has gone up. So that just means on paper that it's going in the opposite direction. In other words, I still own it, and if it keeps going higher, I'm okay with that too. So, but right here is saying, okay, it's 3.77% different as far as it going up. But once it comes back down, the sell will happen. It will execute here, and then the take profit where it's buying it back will be at this 52, and then another at 47, and then again at 39. So that way I'm able to sell it and buy it back cheaper. So basically, to recap in a nutshell, is just saying I've got my take profit set up here. So that way if it goes up, I sell it. I'll also have a smart cover set up where right now the price has risen so much, I'm willing to sell some of it now. So I'll go ahead and sell some of it now. And then if it drops back down, I'm going to buy it back. If it doesn't drop back down, well, then I just sold it at this price, and I was willing to sell it there anyway. Hope this helps. I know it can get so frustrating and overwhelming, especially if you have multiple assets, and it's just all over the place. But I encourage you just take one at a time. Just say, okay, here's my largest one, most important, and this is the one I'm going to do first. I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to do it. Do that first, as opposed to looking at a bunch of them that you own, and just gets overwhelming. So anyway, I hope this helps. Please like and subscribe to this, and put a comment down below if there's something that you would like to see or a question you have about what I talked about and would like me to address, and I'll try to do that in the next video. Thanks a bunch, and I appreciate it, and good luck.